like Monday. I'm still on vacation, but I was sitting there chilling, and Big Mama said, "Tap in with Young Elder."
Oh yeah, I was finna get ready to go live right then. Like I say, I'm gonna go live like the normal time we normally go.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
That's why I had the feeling. That's why I was trying to catch
you. We live, we lit, brothers and sisters. Hold up, let me get this. We
I
live
got a
on.
message somebody sent me today. It said, "Big Rod, get these niggas, Chief."
Oh yeah, we on the land. We back on the land. The Chief back on the land, man. We letting them know what time it is.
Yeah,
I see that dude. I see that dude. He keeping up commotion. Charleston White, Reverend Charleston White.
Look, man, I don't want to talk about Charleston White, man. Charleston White is a whole nother animal.
Yeah, right. He another type of species, huh?
Yeah.
Hold up, let me get that thought.
He controlled opposition. That nigga do his job very well.
Yeah. He got a big fish on the hook now. Hey, life is like a board game, y'all. We in the building with the legendary Rod Hayes, brothers and sisters. Surprise, surprise, surprise.
So this part 2, this the hologram. Before we went over the different board games that had the rules to life in it. Today we finna do an operation. Remember that game?
Operation. It seems like I heard of that game before.
Yeah, you touch the sides, you trip the buzzer.
Oh,
it's a doctor game.
I think I remember that game when I was a kid. Since a lot of these games you bringing up, I remember playing when I was a kid.
The doctor game tied to the nursery rhyme. The nursery rhyme is my backbone connected to my neck bone, my neck bone connected to my skull bone. Right? So all these nursery rhymes is still telling you anatomy.
Right
the
on
nursery rhyme in the board game is telling you anatomy.
Okay.
Right. So I was listening to Brother Kalai earlier today, and he was saying if you want to know what's going on, study anatomy. Anatomy. So then another guy called me earlier, and I told him to get Manly P. Hall, Occult Anatomy of Man, to break down the occult anatomy of man.
I think Manly P. Hall, I might have that book. I know I got a lot of his books. Anatomy.
He a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, Manly P. Hall. I got a couple. I got the Secret Destiny of America. I know for sure that's right here. And then I got like 3, 4. I got all the books that he got on masonry. Anything that he had connected with masonry. And I think just about all his fucking books are connected with masonry. I think. He's a 33rd degree Freemason Manly P. He's one of their hot top scholars in they Masonic, the niggas that say they the mans over here.
He one of the pale faces that was putting the secrets in the public domain so we could put the shit back together.
Exactly.
That's what he was doing. So when we look back on the creation story, right?
Oh,
the creation story, ancient Kemet says we start out in the primordial waters of the Noon. And all was in the Noon and all was naught. That means nothing. Right? And in this primordial Noon emerged a single spark of life, which was a single spark of light. Right? From this single spark of light, duality became a reality. Because the dot then created a line, the line created a wall, the wall created a box, and the box created the first hexagon. Right? So now we're looking at it as a rectangular structure. But when you set it up on the corners, it's the diamond-shaped structure. Okay, so now in order for this to exist as we know it, and this is a hologram, the first thing we have to do is use physics to translate what the ancients told us about the primordial noon, right? So when we look at this, this is what in science is known as the field, right? So I'm finna send you a video, young elder, and we're gonna play this.
Man, I'm glad it didn't cut off because my phone just went dead. I'm glad it didn't cut, man.
But you still on your
I'm on my
computer?
laptop now. See, I switch when it was going dead, I was switching to my laptop. So I guess my laptop caught it before it went cut off.
So today we putting together the holographic game of the gods that generates this reality that we in.
Exactly, man. Somebody was just talking about that on my wife.
So, right. So now when you pull up the video, this is called the field. This is explaining what a field is. This is what the primordial noon is, the field.
You
got it?
Just a second, trying to get this damn computer acting right, man. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. Damn, I thought that shit cut, man. That shit just went dead.
No, you good. We still here live and cracking.
All right, that's why I'm glad.
About to set these niggas balls on fire.
Hey, man, we twisted caps. We twisted caps.
And we doing it big over here, man. Let me get this.
We almost set up because it was just a spur. It was a spur of the moment. We spurred the moment here, man. We just pop. Big Mama just say, get it, do it. You know what I'm saying? We just do it. You know, that's how we do it. Big Mama said, get them niggas, man. All right, we got this set up. We can roll like that. All right, let me switch to the laptop. They say you sent me the video already?
Yeah, it's in your text message.
Okay, all right, let me share it to my thing real quick. Oh yeah, it's about to get greasy. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you're just not coming in the building. Get them on and tell them we live with the legendary brother Rod Hayes, man. Get them up. Tell them they thought we was gonna sleep on them tonight. Get them up.
I don't weep and I don't sleep. So that motherfucking flat cause talk is cheap. And if you got beef, that's a Scarface shit, boy. That Houston in effect, this motherfucker.
So I'm talking about.
Channeling that.
Hey, I didn't get to this is the one. Okay, the one before the one you sent me the other day.
I just sent it.
Okay, I ain't got it yet. It might last text I got from you is the ready. The ready. Is that it? No, okay, I ain't got it yet. I see Black Magic live with Professor James Smalls. They got that name speaks for itself.
That's one of the elders there.
Yeah, Smalls.
I'm gonna try to send
Still ain't got it, right?
I'm gonna try to send it to you again, Elder.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's about to get great. Oh, there you go, right there. All right, let me save it to my All right, now I'm gonna share my screen. We're ready to rock now.
Okay, let's get it in.
Oh yeah, here we go, baby. We told y'all, don't sleep. We got you. Oh yeah.
So in physics, you need to understand the field so that this is the foundation to creation, the field. The field is the necessary component in order to have a baseline for all matter to come into existence.
Here you go.
Probably gonna have a commercial first. The motherfuckers bought their
Physicists
bread.
often talk about the world as consisting of fields, for example, the magnetic field. But what the heck does it actually mean? I mean,
full
the
screen
field
on it.
sounds like a field of dreams, a battlefield, or a baseball field. But fields are one of the most important concepts in physics. You can think of a field as a kind of fluid that fills space. The analogy is not perfect. A fluid has many properties that a field lacks. A field doesn't consist of smaller particles. A field doesn't move. But the analogy to a fluid does capture the idea of a continuous thing that fills space. There are lots of different fields all commingling with one another. The magnetic field, the electric field, the gravitational field. There are also less familiar kinds of fields, the electron field, the Higgs field. In fact, every type of elementary particle
The Higgs
is
field.
and that's how forces get transmitted. In fact, a particle can be thought of as the smallest possible ripple in a field. Particles can be created and destroyed. They either arise from or settle back down into their field. Physicists represent fields using numbers. Each and every point in space has one or more numbers. And fields come in different types depending on how many numbers they require. The Higgs field is a scalar field. It just takes one number at every point in space to describe it, sort of like a map of temperatures. The electric and magnetic fields are called vector fields. They have both a number and a direction at every point in space, sort of like a map of wind velocity. The gravitational field, according to Newton, is also a vector field, but according to Einstein, it's a more complicated kind of field called a tensor field, with a whole grid of numbers at every point in space. Those numbers represent how space and time are distorted. Although the concept of fields is at the root of today's physics, it does have its problems. Quantum physics changes our ideas of what a field should be in a way we're still trying to figure out. It may turn out that fields are just an approximation to a deeper level of reality. For Scientific American's Instant Egghead, I'm George Musser.
Okay, so the field in the Egyptian model is called the primordial nun, N-U-N. And emerging from the field are these particles of light. Let me see.
You hear me?
Yep, I hear you. 1 second. Right. Pull up, go to YouTube, type in string theory.
All right, I got you.
I thought I saved it.
Damn, that's that thing right here blocking me down. All right. There you go, right there. All right, which one you looking for?
Okay, right here, the
Right here, 2 million.
Go where my man say what is string theory right there. That's a good short one to explain it to you. That's the same one I had. Okay, now remember, from the field came a single spark of light.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we go from the field theory to the string theory.
Math and science.
This part is called the string theory.
Okay.
Now watch what the strings are made of.
Beautiful tree that's filled with oranges. And I ask myself, what is the orange made of? How do I answer that question? Well, I want to look deeply inside the orange, so I magnify it. And I magnify it again. And if I keep on doing it deep inside, sooner or later, I begin to see molecules come into view. But molecules are not the end of the story, because the molecules, I can enlarge them. And if I make them big enough deep inside, I begin to see atoms. Atoms are not the end of the story too, because we have electrons zooming around the nucleus, deep inside, mostly empty space in the atom, but deep inside, you see the nucleus. So if I grab that and magnify it, I see that the nucleus is itself made of particles, neutrons and protons. And if I grab one of the neutrons and magnify it, I find yet further particles, little tiny quarks inside. Now that is where the conventional ideas stop. String theory comes along and suggests that inside these particles, there is something else. So if I take a little quark and I magnify it, Conventional idea says there's nothing inside, but string theory says I'll find a little tiny filament, a little filament of energy, a little string-like filament. And just like the string on a violin, I pluck it and it vibrates, creates a little musical note that I can hear. The little strings in string theory, when they vibrate, they don't produce musical notes, they produce the particles themselves. So a quark is nothing but a string vibrating in one
this fire.
pattern. An electron is nothing but a string vibrating in a different pattern. A neutrino, nothing but a string vibrating in a different
Give me a
pattern
broader
of
look at
string. So if I take all of this back together, I have my ordinary orange. And if these ideas are right, they are speculative, but if they are right, deep inside the orange or any other piece of matter is nothing but a dancing, vibrating cosmic symphony of strings. That's
So,
the basic idea.
What'd you say?
okay, so that's string theory. And the primordial noon is the field. From the field emerge those little filaments of light,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, those little filaments of light, when you take the light and you kind of like tie it up in the knot,
Mm-hmm.
right? Check this next one I'm about to send you.
Okay.
You create a denser matter because the light is tied in on itself.
Uh-huh.
And then it creates what's called the Higgs boson, or the God particle discovered in 2012 from the Hadron Collider in Switzerland.
Okay. I say you want me to play that one next, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna play
So
right now.
from here we go to the string to put the strings into density in order for the light to form 3D fixed position reality.
Mm-hmm. This is how we did it on Riz. You breaking
Mhm.
it down right now, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember in Man from Planet Risk when Baba said, somebody said, what do Riskians do for entertainment?
Uh-huh.
Right? He said, we watch holograms,
Yeah.
right? This is the creation of the hologram that we going over now.
It's called right here.
Okay, so you can close that video there out. And
So the Higgs idea, this whole business has to do with the origin of mass. So first, what is mass? It's something we're all quite familiar with. You know, when you push on any object, be it a rock, a Mack truck, whatever, the resistance you feel when you push on the object is the mass of the object. Now, where does the mass of the object come from? Well, clearly, it's got to come from the constituents, the particles that make up the object. But then the next question is, where does their mass come from? Especially when we're talking about fundamental particles like electrons and quarks. Where does their mass come from? Here is the idea, according to this Higgs approach. Imagine that space itself is filled with a kind of invisible substance. It's called the Higgs field, but think of it sort of like a cosmic molasses. And when particles like electrons, say quarks.
Did you hear him say, think of it like a cosmic molasses?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. I know what you're saying. Go ahead. I'm right with him. Yeah.
So in modern terms, he's describing the noon where these particles are coming from. They are emerging from the noon.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, these particles, contrary to popular opinion, carries consciousness as a program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now let's go back to it.
If they're trying to move through space, they have to kind of push through this cosmic molasses, and they experience a resistance as they try to do so. It's sort of like if you throw a little pebble into a vat of molasses, you can see that the pebble is experiencing resistance. The same would go for the particles. And that resistance, say when you push on an electron from its interactions with that surrounding Higgs molasses, would be the mass of the electron. Now, that analogy is not perfect. It might lead you to think that an electron would always be brought to rest as it experiences some friction against the molasses as it's traveling through empty space. That's not correct. This drag force only manifests itself when the particle is trying to speed up or slow down, but it's not a bad way to think about how, according to Higgs, particles would be imbued with mass. Pushing through the ambient molasses is where the mass comes from. Well, this idea that space is filled with the Higgs field, this Higgs molasses, it's a kind of a wild idea. When it was first put forward, frankly, most physicists didn't believe that this idea was correct. So how would you verify this idea through experiment? Well, here's one possibility, the one that has actually been done. Take particles, make them go around to the Large Hadron Collider near the speed of light and slam into each other. When they slam into each other, they kind of are banging into space. They're kind of slapping space. They're kind of spanking space. And when you spank space, if it really is filled with this molasses, then the molasses should kind of jiggle. And if you jiggle the molasses in the right way, you should be able to flick off a tiny speck of the Higgs field, and that tiny speck would be a Higgs particle. And that indeed is what we believe has happened at the Large Hadron Collider. Very hard to find these particles. Calculations show that roughly 1 in a trillion of these spankings of space, these collisions of particles, will actually flick off one of these Higgs particles. But now there's very strong evidence that the Higgs particle has been found, that this Higgs idea is right. The Higgs idea and its confirmation is really important for a number of reasons. Number one, we physicists aim to answer basic fundamental questions. And one of the most basic of all is, where do the elementary fundamental particles get their mass? And this suggestion, which appears to be correct, is a vital step forward. A second reason why this idea and its confirmation is important is the Higgs particle is a new kind of matter, not just a new run-of-the-mill particle. You see, the particles that we know about, like electrons and neutrinos and quarks, they all spin around, sort of like a top, in a quantum mechanical way. But the point is, they all spin around. The Higgs particle is the first species of elementary particles that doesn't spin at all. The first spinless species of particle. So it's like finding some alien new life form, but now in the kingdom of particles. So that's a very important step forward. The other thing that is worth emphasizing, especially when you come at physics as I do as a theorist, the idea of the Higgs field and the Higgs particle began as mathematical symbols in an equation in a paper. And then over the course of 40 years, through developing that idea, developing technology to test it, we've now shown that the mathematics led the way. It has shown us a deeper level of reality that we couldn't test when the ideas were first put on the table. And that transition from mathematical idea to a confirmed feature of reality, that's really what we theorists live for. So those are three reasons why we are so excited that this discovery has now been confirmed and rightly been awarded the Nobel Prize.
Okay, you can stop that. Okay, so now we see him explaining how the Higgs derives its mass from not having spin. So remember, in a hologram, you need a fixed position, and then you need a mobile operator.
Okay.
Remember that, because later on, it's going to come back up.
Okay.
All right, now, he explained to you that this molasses-like substance, we call it dark matter. Let's look up dark matter.
Okay. Dark matter, baby. Oh yeah, dark matter is a hypothetical. They say hypothetical form of matter thought to account for approximately 85% of the matter in the universe.
How is it hypothetical for it make up 85% of the mass? Okay, that's the first thing. Look, so this is the primordial room, dark matter. When you look out in the sky at night, this is what you see, dark matter, right? So dark matter also has another name, right? And the other name for dark matter is melanin.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. And another name for it is antimatter. Right where you at now under images, right? Antimatter, most expensive substance. And watch what happens.
All right, I got you. Let me make sure I'm sending you a new folder for this class. It's right here. Right. All right, now you say type in most expensive.
It's antimatter, not dark matter, antimatter, most expensive substance. See right there where it's matched to gold?
Well, right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say that. Damn. And it's funny that you joined a class on this because I was just reading on this today on how these Asgard ship fly off a neutron energy. I was like, oh shit, like a nucleus. They extract the nucleus from an atom and then use that as fuel. I was like, oh shit, this shit is crazy.
Yeah, that's the neutron energy.
Yeah.
Look, now type melanin more expensive than gold in the search bar.
All right. You want me to pull up the
You
right
see where
here?
it say?
I got it.
See where it say melanin and gold?
Yeah, I got it right here. I just saved it. I just saved it in your folder.
I'm gonna have you send it to me because I know Rod gonna want to. He gonna say, "Send me that photo from your girl from last night."
Yeah. That's why I had created that folder right there. Boom. Boom. Melanin more than gold. That's crazy. I know it's true though. I know it's true though, because melanin is the fuel. It's what give us that. It's what give us the.
We finna see while we looking at the hologram. We finna see the energy that's being harvested for the hologram to operate off of certain energy fields.
Okay, go ahead. They need us.
Okay, now let's review these pictures we just downloaded so the people can see what we're looking at.
All right, I got you. We want to do we'll do the one we pulled first.
The dark matter, that's where we was at.
Yeah, we'll pull that one first.
Now you got to understand the value of a thing, not quite that big. Yeah. So when you understand the value of a thing, then you will understand what's taking place to keep the machine running. Right? In order to keep the machine running, the machine has to generate something of value in order for us to be able to take what the machine give us to keep the machine running. These are the things that our minds never entertain. Therefore, we never entertain what it takes to run creation. So if gold is $56 a gram, that's our unit weight standard of measure for wealth on Earth.
Right, go ahead.
Who is the unit, the wealth standard of antimatter at 62.5 trillion a gram?
That's right. Go ahead.
Right. Now, we see
Damn.
antimatter. You
Hold on,
see gold.
That's a big ass fucking difference. Like this is $56
So,
versus 62 trillion.
Right. So on Earth, we dealing with $56 per gram of gold in weights and standards. But in the intergalactic community, Earth is dealing 62.5 trillion a gram in antimatter harvested through the energy of the melanin conversion.
Dang, go ahead, bro.
Let's go to the melanin now. Even the melanin is worth more than gold per gram. Melanin is 384.5 or 50 cents a gram. Gold at 40.78 a gram at the time the weights and standards was measured. Right?
Damn.
So the gold is the standard of weights and measures on Earth. That's the standard of value that you deal with as a mortal.
Mm-hmm.
But when you become immortal or intergalactic being, then you're dealing on the weights and measure scale as dictated by the antimatter harvestability from transferring melanin into antimatter. Look at the upkeep on, look at the upcharge on the conversion process.
Damn, bro. That shit like a 10,000%. Like that shit is crazy.
It's trillions of percent.
Yeah.
So this is why they was harvesting us along with the gold. We was the melanin, which is the carbon. Pull up, go back to Google and Google carbon 666 under images.
Oh yeah, I heard of this before. Go ahead. Let me say some of these pictures.
You see where it says I'm 6 protons, 6
yeah, right here.
neutrons,
This
6
what I
electrons.
remember seeing. This what I remember seeing right here. The 12. Say it. I like this picture right here too. I'm gonna use this one for the thumbnail. All right, I'm gonna get one more, then we can go to it. We get one more right here. I like this one right here. This one. And this one. All right, let me get it pulled up for you. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so now you see what the carbon 12 is. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. Now this has to be converted into antimatter. So that means that you have to create a tiny black hole in the nucleus. How do you do that?
Turn it inside out, I guess.
Right. See, the science is controlling the Higgs boson at the nucleus, where the matter derives its density. Because if you go in there and explode the Higgs boson, the one that gives it its mass, the pushback from the primordial waters will make it reform back into its shape. Right? But there's a large energy discharge when it comes back into form. It creates a push-pull electromagnetic field, and that field is used to manifest creation or creative forces. Mark of the beast.
You breaking down like the ancestors with all this stuff. I asked the ancestor today to reveal to me how 0 point energy work, and I'm getting a lot of shit. And then you all of a sudden
you about to get to it.
Yeah, you coming with this video. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Okay, so now the 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons will convert into antimatter as melanin is self-sentient. It's self-aware on its own. It don't need you. That's Big Mama energy. Okay, now go back to the images. and type in PONS. You gotta take that other stuff out.
Yeah, peons.
Pines region.
All right, region.
It's gonna show you a part of the brain. Remember the matrix, right?
Yeah.
Remember where the main plug was at in the base of the spine?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good. Let me say these pictures.
Okay, now say that when they go back to it, because it's another part of it. It's a little nerve ganglia called the reticular formation. So take that out and type in RET.
I got you. Hold on just a second.
Mm-hmm.
All right. R.
Take that out. RETICULAR formation. FORMATION.
You see it right here.
Hey, you see the one right there? That's the chart. That's the one we need.
Which one?
Right. Wait a minute. Yeah, that one right there.
Okay, right there.
The one next to it over there with
Right
all
here?
of this. Go one to the left.
Right there?
Up to the right, 2 pictures.
Oh, shit. Okay.
It's at the bottom right there. On the right. 2 pictures over. Right there, that one. Okay, then before we go to him, go to Dr. Richard King, Black Dot, and the same thing.
Richard King. The formation that you know?
No, take that out. Type in Dr. Richard King, Black Dot. So I want to give them the references while we're going over this so they'll know what we're looking at. They can see from the same angle.
This dude right here. I'm about to go check his videos out now. I ain't never heard of him.
Oh, yeah, you're going to love him.
He got a book I called Why Dark Matters. Darkness Matters. All right, here we get this, hold on, let me get this book right here. Like he got a book right here called Melanin, the Black Dot.
That's the one. That's what I was looking for.
Okay, I got that saved too.
Okay, now go to, take his name out, put Dr. Carol, C-A-R-O-L, Barnes, B-R-N-E-S, Melanin, Chemical Keys, that should be enough to get you what you're looking for.
All right, yeah, I got
First book.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, I ain't never heard of him neither. We had all these black scientists on this joint, on this type of shit, and it's just this right here is advanced shit.
Yeah, so we supposed to be illiterate.
Yeah. The dude that created that damn tunnel digger, the new one, the remodeled.
Okay, now go to the Google main page.
Okay.
Type in Nostradamus Black Mirror. This is a shout out. This is a shout out to Nas and Queensbridge on the Queensbridge flip.
On the Queensbridge flip.
Off of Real Roxanne Shantae. You know what Run DMC say? Kings from Queens come kings. We raising hell like a class when the school bell rings. Class in session. Get these niggas, young elder.
Right, right.
But peel their cap back, right?
Yeah. Hey, we twisting wigs and caps, my nigga. Hold on, hold on. All right, there you go. Damn. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, I'm typing in.
I know. I was waiting. I was patient.
Yeah, it's froze on me a little bit. There you go, right there. Now, okay, you want me to pull up what on Nick? I got Nostradamus, Black Mirror.
Yeah. What's the first one say?
Said the art of Black Mirror, scaring paperwork, the book stall, the art of the Black Mirror, all that's the same thing.
Okay, go to images and see what come up. Let's see if we can't get the shortcut to this.
Here you go, right here. Nostradamus, right here.
And once you say that, we're going to go to Operation Looking Glass for definition.
All right. Operation Looking Glass. We got their ass. We caught them looking through the glass. They peeked.
The second picture, Elder.
I got that one already.
Okay.
Operation Looking Glass. We got their ass. Peeking through the window.
Now, let's go put all this shit together so I can show y'all what we're looking at.
All right.
Okay, now.
What you want to put?
We was go back to what we was just at.
Okay, all right. Let's see. We just go through here. This shit's about to get crazy. Hey, y'all hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you want to show the brother Rod Hayes some love, we dropped this Cash App in the links, right? All right, melanin worth more than gold. I think we went over it. Let me just scan through them real quick. Okay. Okay, they got keep calm, melanin is $3.3 a gram. That's what he said. So what, they fucking injecting that shit in themselves?
Man, they use melanin in so many different kinds of ways. Did you know that melanin is worth more than gold? Right? So at different times, these is generated because you can see the gold price is different and the melanin price is different. Right? So the wasted standard to measure gold pales in comparison to the wasted standard to measure melanin.
4 times the price.
So go back to the images and type in Hitler, Jewels of God.
All right. Hey, somebody in the crowd, man, in the chat say, Rod, man, get them niggas, man. Hitler's,
Jewels, Jewels of God in America. Because if we worth more than gold, goddammit.
Yeah, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah. Let's see what Adolf had to say about it. That first one is it.
Yeah, right here. Let's get his ass. I'm gonna save it right there. We're gonna say that up in there. We got his ass. Hitler. Hitler was involved with the melanin jacking too, wasn't he?
No, he was one of the ones fighting them dirty Moors over in Europe.
Okay, go ahead. I'm with you.
That's what we about to read about.
Oh yeah.
If you think I'm bullshitting, type in blacks victims of Germany Holocaust.
Oh yeah, I know. Hey, look, I'm doing I'm writing that in, I'm talking about that in the Majesties of America book. But the Bantu people was already there. Matter of fact, King George III, his mother come from Germany, that area. And they slaughtered those people. They really was bombing black people, all these Bantu people. And look, they offered them, they took the refugees down to South Africa, right? After that war. And then now Germany trying to offer them like $2 trillion to sweep everything under the rug of what they did to the people over there. And them people told them they could kiss their ass. They don't want shit. We want your fucking head. That's what they told him. The leader. We want your head for what you did. We don't want no damn money. You can't pay. Never pay us.
Who you talking about, Haiti?
No, not Hades. I'm talking about down in South. The people that was in Germany, the Bantu people. They moved them to another land. They refugeed them to Angola, right? Once they start bombing them, the people that got escaped during the World War, I think it was World War II, right? The people that escaped, they moved them down to Angola, but those were people that was in the land of Germany. They was taking the Holocaust where they were torturing people. They really were torturing niggas. They really were torturing Africans. These Bantu people that was in that.
They was torturing that. Listen, wait till you read this. He was torturing the dirty Moors.
Okay, let's go ahead. I want to see this.
They was using them for all of the experiments that they discovered that melanin was capable. This is where you come up with this statement. So let's see what all Adolf had to say about it.
We got to read this shit right here, bro. This shit you always drop some shit on us, though, right? You always do. Can you see this?
Hitler said, even in death, he will start World War III. One of his soldiers asked how. Hitler replied, the day mankind finds out what I was trying to defend this nation, Germany, from, then that's the day World War III will start. For at that day, mankind will learn that I was trying to save my nation from the Freemasons, the Illuminati, the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
Scroll down.
Gotcha.
For if the Americans wins the war, then they will conquer the world and forever be a slave to the Jews, and they will try to conquer God. Do you know who America has in its possession? No, the soldier replied. The American has the jewels of God. The American have the stolen God's precious jewels. What do you mean, his precious jewels? The soldier asked Hitler. Hitler said, America has stolen the jewels of God, his jewelry, the Negroes. They are the true Hebrews, the ones who crossed the Mississippi River to go fight the Seminole Wars in Florida.
Indeed.
Ibri, they crossed over.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't the Tigris and Euphrates and Abraham?
No.
They talking about the Bible is applying to the end times now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you put the layover over it, we talking crossing the Mississippi.
Exactly. The Nile of the West.
So when they come across the Mississippi, they said Ibri, those that crossed over.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Right?
I'm with
so they translated the story to the Middle East to disorient us because the map is flipped upside down when it was really Middle America.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right? So this is the holographic nature of the flip. When you understand how the hologram is working, then it works in your favor. They've kept the hologram secret. Right? So the next one I'm going to send you.
I'm waiting.
We're going to start going into the holographic nature of this shit. We in a simulation.
Man,
right? So first we need to understand how a 3D hologram works. So when you go into your inbox,
send it to me. I'm waiting on you right now.
it's on the way.
All right, I'm gonna pull it up right now for you.
So we in a simulator designed like a hologram or designed in a hologram.
All right, there we go, right there.
Holograms are confusing. They're those weird 3D ghost
Hey, I'm gonna use the
images that
restroom.
appear
Keep
to
on
follow
going.
you as you move,
Yeah, tell me what
but
to
they're
say.
actually completely flat 2D films, and yet they have motion parallax. That is, as you move your gaze, things in the foreground seem to shift faster than things in the background, and they give you a stereoscopic view. That is, you see two different images with each eye, which together create the perception of depth. 3D movies aren't even this 3D. They don't even have motion parallax. And that hologram of Tupac at Coachella, it wasn't even three-dimensional in any way. I digress. So holograms need some really special properties to appear 3D. One is that they show different images depending on where you stand in front of the hologram. This is really unusual. Let's recall that when you look at a regular photograph, it looks the same no matter which way you look at it. What you're seeing when you look at the photo is a white light beam. White light is like a crowd of people. They're walking with different footstep lengths, like the different wavelengths or colors in white light, in every different direction as the light spreads out. That beam reflecting off the photo is like freeze framing the white light crowd. Blue light here, red light there, and it's stagnant. You can't move the crowd around. Blue parts will always be here to the left of those red parts. With a hologram, you can move. It provides that parallax effect. Check it out. This is the setup to make one type of hologram, although the other types are similar. It starts with a laser beam, which is split into two. Then both of the beams go through lenses to make them spread out. One beam, the object beam, bounces off the object you're trying to image and shines onto the holographic film, while the other beam, the reference beam, goes straight there. And then, well, this is why we use lasers. Laser light looks very different from white light. It's all going in the same direction, it all has the same wavelength, and it's coherent, meaning all the light waves are in phase or in unison. This is so key to making holograms. In cases where two coherent laser beams meet, they can create regular striped interference patterns like this. In our case, the reference beam is a coherent beam, though the object beam is not. Still, when they meet, they also create an interference pattern, but a special one that encodes the specific 3D information about the object onto the holographic film. Now, we had a reference beam and an object beam, and together they created an interference pattern. A plus B equals C. What would happen if we took the interference pattern and sent the reference beam in through the back? That's kind of like C minus A. Well, that equals B. And sure enough, with this type of hologram, sending a laser beam in through the back of the film is how you get out the original object beam. That's the same beam that was created when the laser first shined off the object. Since this reproduced beam is a perfect copy of the object beam, you can't tell whether you're looking at the light from the hologram or from the original scene, complete with motion parallax and stereoscopic views. The other cool thing about holograms is that all parts of the hologram carry information about the object. So you could cut a little square of the hologram and you'd still be able to see the entire object in it. You can't do that with a photograph. Deep down though, the holographic film is just a bunch of interference patterns. Up close, the film looks like this, whereas a photographic film just looks like a smaller version of the image. Much less cool. Oh, and the Tupac hologram, that was a stage trick called Pepper's Ghost that dates back as far as the 16th century.
What?
You could even create one at home. I'll link to some tutorials in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and if you liked it and want more physics, hit subscribe.
Okay, so now remember, so when the light beams frames, they need a film for the light beams to refract off of in order to reproduce the image of the hologram.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said every particle of the hologram have all the information of the hologram in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. As above, so below, as within, so without. Now, when you take the hologram and you're looking at the mind projections, right, for the hologram from an internal point of view, you have to perceive externally the external point of view. So if this holds true, then we would have to have two objects in space, one to send a continuous signal, and the other is to send a base signal, right? So the two signals merge. So Google trajectory. You can leave it in images. It might come up as an image faster.
Okay, all right. Hold on, let me get my trajectory
Of dark night satellite and moon. I seen you asking the question if
dark night.
Somebody was asking the question if the moon was fake.
Dark night satellite.
Yeah.
All right. What you got? What you see? You see what we looking for?
That's it right there. What you and your finger on. That's
right
it.
there. Let's save that in that joint. See what else they got on there. Put some close up on that joint.
You remember the movie Dark Tower?
Dark Tower. Dark Tower. It ain't ringing for me right now. I might have watched it though, but it ain't ringing for me right now. Top of my head, Dark Tower.
All right, put the rest of it in the search for the moon in relation to the moon.
Okay. Okay, yeah, okay, damn. Okay, I ain't put that. Here we go. Oh shit, son. This shit about to get crazy, man. This shit right here, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. It looked like it. What do it say?
It said Galileo, hold on. Damn. Galileo will help lunar pathfinder navigate around the moon.
That's a satellite, Galileo.
Yeah. Maybe it's something like this too. This is like you on something here, right? You on something, bro. You know how I do. When you give me the little leg workout you got.
Okay, so since we on the moon, it's a book called Mysterious Spaceship Moon. Put it in the search bar right there.
All right.
There's two parts to this book, and it's hard to find.
Right here.
Yeah, I think that's it.
This is like an original copy this nigga got right here.
It's part 1 and part 2.
All right, I got this. What else you got?
Okay, let's go to the material and let's go over it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so now we know that the precious gems is us. We the jewels of God. That's what Adolf Hitler was talking about. This is the dark night satellite. This is the north-south orbit. It has a north to south orbit.
Mm-hmm.
The moon has an east to west orbit. They are in constant electric communication with each other.
Mm-hmm.
They never bump into each other. After all this time that it's been up there, they've never bumped into each other, and they on the same orbit.
Mm-hmm.
Except one's going north and south and one's going east to west. The moon is in a fixed position. It's always facing the earth.
That's right.
The satellite is in a transient position north to south. Right? So that's a prime meridian crossing the equator to project the hologram. Right? So now when we want to know how the hologram work, we start studying the holographic nature of the universe, right?
Mhm.
And we have to start with Michael Talbot. I'm about to send you this video.
All right, send it to me.
Michael Talbot wrote a book called The Holographic Universe. And in here, he's going to give you a little insight to what he discovered doing his research.
All right. All right, I'm gonna get a chance to load up into the folder real quick. Boom, boom.
Mm-hmm. You good? You know they murdered Michael Talbot, by the way.
They got rid of him because he put out some shit that they didn't want. There was a vote his
He
time.
was revealing the hologram.
I had this is book right here. I'm saving it in the folder.
Mm-hmm.
All right, boom. Let me go pull up this YouTube. Boom. Hey, if you're just not coming into the building, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. If you don't receive a notification from us every day, come back and check with us. If you want to show the brother Rod Hayes some love, we dropping his Cash App in the links. All right, I got you right here. I'm loading it up right now.
So that implies that this notion that we go about our everyday lives with thinking of ourselves as separate from each other, and the cup is separate from the coffee that goes in the cup, that these notions are somehow, what would you say, superficial or contradicted at a deeper level? They're artificial, definitely, and Bohm really stresses this, and it's a very interesting notion, because our Western way of thinking, we're so attached to the idea that when we come up with a concept like an apple or an electron or whatever, that exists out there, and we forget. It's kind of like fish unaware of the water in which they swim, that the conceptual pigeonholes we use, words, to describe reality, are phenomena inside our head. They're not out there. And most of the time, this is a philosophical quibble. But when you get down to quantum physics, and this is one of the reasons that Bohm came up with the holographic idea, it starts to have real effects. And one of those is it's been discovered that if you take two subatomic particles like electrons, and in certain instances, when you do something to one, it will always affect the other, no matter how far apart they are. It's kind of like stories that you've heard of identical twins, where when one is hurt, the other feels the pain. And the problem is that we can find no process known to physics that explains how these could be sending a signal back and forth. In fact, because it would have to be faster than the speed of light. Instantaneous. It would have to be an instantaneous signal, and Einstein's theory of relativity said you can't have instantaneous signals, because it would mean that you could violate the time barrier and conceivably call your grandfather and tell him not to marry your grandmother. And most physicists say, well, this would be just too troubling to incorporate into a rational picture of reality. Bohm explains it in a different way, which is a very interesting way. And he says, if you imagine that you've got an aquarium in which you have a fish swimming, you have a TV camera facing the front of the aquarium, one facing the side of the aquarium, and you have a monitor attached to each camera. And you also imagine further that you come from a culture that's never seen aquariums, never seen fish, never seen monitors or cameras. All you are privy to is the two images on these screens. He says that maybe, if you look at these two screens, you're going to see a side view of a fish and a frontal view of a fish. And because you don't know what the deeper reality is, the reality of the aquarium, you may assume that these are two separate things. But two different fish, two different objects. But every time one fish moves, the other is going to make a corresponding movement. And you may then jump to the conclusion that somehow the one fish is signaling the other, communicating the other to say, hey, do this instantaneously.
And Bohm says this is what we've done with subatomic particles, that we assume that an instantaneous communication is going on, when that's not really what's going on at all. At a deeper level, a very holographic level of reality, every particle in the universe collapses to a sort of cosmic unity. They're not signaling each other. They're like that fish where there's the level of the aquarium. And so what that means, talking about words, is that there is no separation between electrons. Furthermore, there's no separation between people. And this has all kinds of very boggling implications, one of which is that we've always tried to understand, for example, psychic phenomena, like how could I get information out of your head in my head, as some sort of signal going back and forth. But if we're organized, if we live in a universe that's organized holographically, you no longer have to tackle it that way. It could be that I have the entire universe and every neuron, every cell, every atom, every electron in my head, and you do also. So when we can access that, we can access information that seems to be beyond our normal sensory reach.
Well, you know, I'm very interested in
You
psychic
do, here's
phenomena,
genes.
and I know you've had many personal experiences,
Right.
and I want to touch on it, but this is not a model that was developed in order to explain psychic phenomena. And I think the neuropsychologists like Carl Pribram, the fact that it happens to provide an explanation for psychic phenomena is almost a bit of an embarrassment, that he developed the holographic model because he was trying to come to terms with memory.
Right.
So
right.
let's talk about that.
Sure. Pribram was working under a very famous neurophysiologist named Carl Lashley. And it was at a time when it was believed that memory was stored in a specific spot in the brain. And there was something called the proverbial grandmother cell, that there was literally a cell in your brain that contained the memory of your grandmother, what you knew about your grandmother. And so they did a rather gruesome series of experiments for animal lovers, but it came out with some very profound information. They took rats and they taught them how to run mazes. And then they would surgically remove various portions of the brain, Pribram and his mentor, Carl Lashley. The reasoning being that if they could remove a portion of the brain and the rat could no longer run the maze, they found the area of the brain where the rat's memory of the maze running ability was encoded. Now, every time they removed a different portion of the brain, they discovered that they could never remove the memory of how to run the maze. They could impair the rat's ability so it might limp through the maze, but they couldn't remove it. And really, surgeons had known this for a while, doctors had known this for a while, because when people have head injuries, they don't forget half of the alphabet or half of their family or half of a novel they read. They have global memory impairment where their entire memory may be hazy. But memories don't seem to be stored in our heads in the same way that books are stored on a shelf. And it wasn't until the 60s when Pribram founded the holographic model that says that the whole is contained in every part, that he said, aha, this may be what's going on in the brain. Mm-hmm. Specifically, because a hologram is made out of interference patterns, the hologram that you see, that we talked about earlier is made out of the interference pattern of laser light, but it can be made out of the interference patterns of any kind of energy, electromagnetic energy, electricity, X-rays even. And so Pribram said, since our synapses are constantly giving off electrical impulses, these are like proverbial pebbles dropping into the sort of electromagnetic pool of our brain. They're sending out ripples that are constantly crisscrossing.
Okay, you can stop.
What the brain hologram, that's how.
Man, I just heard a lot of shit right here.
Yeah, so you see how he explains that everything is the sum total parts of creation in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
And every part of the cell has access to certain parts of the energy grid. Mm-hmm. How do you access it is you have to get on a frequency with it, mm-hmm. right? So at this point, how do the hologram get projected into the brain in order to crystallize into thought? Go to the function, go back to Google and look up the function of the reticular formation and read it under the description of what it does.
I got you.
This is a very key part of the brain. And this is why in the Matrix, they show that main plug going into the base of the spine. I was on Brother Crumb and we was talking about the melanin ganglia at the base of the spine needed to facilitate ascension. 1 drop of blood. Open up the channels.
What was that part of the brain you said?
Reticular formation, RETICL.
I got you. It says the brainstem reticular formation represents the archic core of those pathways connected to the spinal cord and is Shinshin, I can't say that word right there. It is subserved, atomic, motor, sensor, behavior, cognitive, and mood in relations to function.
Okay, now go to the images of it that we got in the pictures so the people can see what we're looking at
So,
when I start explaining what I'm about to
okay,
explain.
the one we already saved, right?
Yep,
Okay.
you already saved it.
Okay, I got you. Come on, baby. Come on. Oh, this here connected to what I was talking about in Ascension. Man, it's the third eye chakra too, about the pineal gland. And I got you. All right. Let's see. Where is it? Right here. I want the one that you said. Okay, hold up. I got you. It's right here. There you go, right here.
Okay, now you see where it say projections into cerebral cortex, right?
Yeah.
You see where it say visual impulses.
Yeah.
You see where it say auditory impulses.
Yeah.
You see where it got the line pointing to the reticular formation?
Yeah.
Under that, it say ascending sensory tracts. You see that?
Yeah.
It's a nerve. Then you look on the other side, it say descending motor signal to spinal cord.
Yeah.
Okay, now, your reticular formation is a nerve ganglia of activity in the chakra center. And from there, all of your consciousness expands where it's a projection into cerebral cortex.
Mm-hmm.
As you wake up from your slumber, see how those arrows is pointing all the way to the different parts of the brain?
Yeah.
Okay, it's trying to get to something called the prefrontal lobe.
Yeah, right.
Why
here.
is that?
Because that's where it tells your motor. That's where the motor skills is activated. Where it tell you to move your limbs and shit.
Your prefrontal lobe is your. Let's go back to the images.
Okay.
On Google and look something else up.
You want me to look the frontal lobe?
Look up empathy center, EMPATHY.
Oh, the brain?
Yep.
Oh, I got you right here. Let me save a couple of them. Well, I think I see the one we need though. It's right here, I think.
When you get it, open it up. Let's look at it.
Okay. Right here. Let me see that one and this one. So hey, it's a couple of people that like a certain races that this part of their brain is hard. That's what they mean when they say Pharaoh. He ain't live hard in the Pharaoh's heart. He hardened this part of his brain. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let's get it pulled up. Here we go here. All right. You might can't see that one. The words on there. This is the part right here, but let me get it.
It's in the prefrontal lobe.
Okay.
Matter of fact, go to the main page and put in prefrontal lobe function.
Okay, all right. I got you.
So this is the part of your brain where you determine right from wrong.
Yeah, cognitive control, dopamine, Okay. Memory, impulsive. Yeah, it's like behavior, thereby influence attention, like what you pay attention with. Yeah, so it ain't I'm thinking that's a part with the motor skills, but it's like more of
Read that one you at right now.
it says a person with damage to the prefrontal cortex might be have blunt emotional response. For instance, they might even become more aggressive, irritable, struggle to get irritated fast, activities. Finally, they might perform poorly on tasks that require long-term planning, impulse inhibited.
Okay, now tell me, do that sound like ADD, bipolar disorder?
Yep.
Okay.
Attention span, all that. Yeah, that's what they say.
Right. Okay, now your consciousness is projected into the body from your reticular formation to your prefrontal lobe. This is your empathy center, your judgment center.
Mm-hmm.
All right. From there, you wake up and you become aware of the 3D world that you in. Mm-hmm. Now you done put the goggles on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if this is true, there would be a form of science that would explain how consciousness is projected into the body.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I sent you another video about the hologram. I want you to pull that up, the simulation. Pull that up first. And then while we're looking at that, I'm going to send you this other video.
Introducing the new skill PowerCore 20 XP rear handle saw. You can cut up to 600 2x4s on one charge. For extreme.
Is this reality? Well, we're experiencing something right now, so maybe the better question is, what is reality? Could everything we see, everything we experience, everything that exists in our entire universe be artificial? Supporters of simulation theory believe that not only is it possible that we're living in a simulation, it's likely. And the more we look for evidence, the more we find. Let's find out why. The idea of the universe being a simulation is not a new one. Theories exist in ancient cultures around the world. Modern simulation theory comes from Nick Bostrom, a philosopher at Oxford who wrote an influential paper on the subject in 2003. Assuming that living in a simulation is possible, Bostrom presents the simulation trilemma, which says one of the following must be true. 1, we destroy ourselves before we're able to create a simulation. 2, we're able to create a simulation but choose not to. Or 3, we are definitely in a simulation. Bostrom believes each of these is equally likely to be true. Now, I don't think that's controversial. We use computer models to study the human population, predict the weather, for entertainment. We simulate everything. And when a civilization can create a realistic simulation.
Go back to that lady with them goggles on. You see her?
Yep.
Now she's experiencing a game the way we experience in 3D reality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With a pair of goggles on her eyes just to give her an optical illusion of being inside of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is what we're talking about, the simulation. So if this is true, then these suits are what we call a meat modem.
Mm-hmm.
And they here as a Earth rover for us to traverse the Earth, but we consciously somewhere else projecting our consciousness into this body.
Mm-hmm.
Push play.
simulate everything. And when a civilization can create a realistic simulation, the most obvious one to create is that of its own early existence. Bostrom calls this an ancestral simulation. And a civilization that can do this wouldn't just create one simulation, it would create many. And those simulated civilizations might create their own simulations of the universe, and on like Russian nesting dolls of reality.
Now you're a character in that world and you think you have free will. They say, I want to invent a computer. So you do. Hey, I want to create a world in my computer. And then that world creates a world in its computer. And then you have simulations all the way down.
When Elon Musk was asked what he thought the chances were that our reality is the original base reality,
The odds that we're in base reality is 1 in billions.
That's facts.
Neil deGrasse Tyson is a little more conservative. He thinks the odds that we are in base reality versus a simulated reality is 50-50. A 50-50 chance that everything we experience is artificial, that's still pretty high. And even though we mostly hear what scientists think about this, it's not scientific theory. Simulation theory isn't math, it's philosophy. It isn't physics, it's metaphysics. So what we need is hard evidence that we live in a simulation. And
Okay, stop that.
All you have to do is.
Now you heard him say it's not physics, it's metaphysics.
Yeah, he shot his own self in the foot. Go ahead.
So metaphysics is dealing with the meta world,
Yeah.
right? And we already know what a meta program is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In Dianetics, the meta program is called an engram. An engram is, we call them in the culture, the generational curses.
Mm-hmm.
Remember in the other video, he was talking about trying to take out the grandmother gene.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that no matter what part of the brain they tried to remove, they couldn't get rid of the grandmother gene.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because this is the field in which the construct of the mind or the brain is built around.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take away the field without taking away the thing altogether.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Phantom limb syndrome. Let's go look that up.
All right. Phantom limb syndrome. We got the ass. We got him.
Somebody say, young girl, to get these
Hey,
niggas.
hey, you getting it tonight, my nigga. Hey, look, hey, I'm gonna tell you, man, you right on time, man. I'm gonna tell you, it's some weird shit going on today, and it ain't no coincidence that you talking about this, man. Because even my wife and them, they Hebrews, and they were reading the Bible, and they were talking about this word reality being. They were saying the same, almost the similar same shit you said, and I was like, damn, this shit is crazy.
I'm gonna take you somewhere else later on with it, but right now, let's go to where we at.
You said phantom
leg syndrome,
right.
Phantom limb syndrome, PHANTOM.
Leg syndrome,
or you could put limb, LIMB.
Okay, that's what it said right here, limb, phantom limb. All right. Okay, hold on.
Is it a short video?
Yes, no, it just says a condition which a patient experiences sensations, whether painful or otherwise, in a limb that does not exist. What? It has been reported to occur in 80 to 100% of amputees and typically has a chronic course, often resistant to treatment. All right, let me get a picture. So it's like the limbs that don't exist, they be having pain in their leg that ain't there.
Yeah.
Like
It
so,
feel
like
they can still feel their ankle when their leg cut off.
yeah, that's what they
They feet still itch
with their leg cut off.
with their leg cut off.
Oh yeah, this is about to get crazy. Go ahead. Hold on, I'm gonna say some pictures.
Okay, the reason why I had you pull up the phantom limb syndrome is because the phantom limb is the field.
Okay, I'm gonna blow this up for you.
That's the field where the leg's supposed to be at. So the leg is going to experience, the phantom limb is going to experience everything the leg would have been experiencing had you not lost it, or the limb.
This is a good picture right here. Just dealing with the connected with the brain and all that. What you talking about?
Yeah, blow that motherfucker up. So in the mind, your subconscious mind know that the leg belong in that area.
Uh-huh.
But the leg has been cut off just above the knee. But the mind is still experiencing the life of the leg in the field.
This is
the
good.
field is the general outline of the limb as described in your genetic formula. Right? So now the whole body is in a grid or a field. And the field determine if you endomorph, ectomorph, or mesomorph. Remember them?
Yeah. The different size of the shapes of the body.
Right. Different muscle mass.
Yeah.
Right. Then it determines your height. So now your genetic traits determines the field in which your body develops. Look at them white girls with some big old booties. Where that come from?
Yeah, because they develop it from from looking at us.
And from getting one drop of blood.
Yeah.
All they need is one drop of blood for them to be able to move into the same physiological field because they'll have the resonance on the DNA.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a program.
So like a light body. It's like your light body.
Yeah.
You know
okay, now.
Real you.
Go to the last video I just sent you because now you get to understand that your consciousness is projected into your body from a remote location.
I'm about to go back and watch all these videos, man.
Oh yeah, they crack.
Oh yeah, you cracking. Okay. Playlist. Because this right here pretty much what I was teaching in the Ascension Manual. And now as you giving me more for it. You're giving me more stuff to it. More pieces.
So by tying these sciences together, it gives the average Joe a view of a higher perspective of seeing the creation of the universe. You got to take the victim out of the equation.
All new ego power plus flow.
We don't want to be victims no more.
165 cm.
This it, right?
Yeah.
In Biology of Belief, Dr. Bruce Lipton, PhD, outlines a new understanding of life based on his pioneering research with stem cells at Stanford University. In his book, Dr. Lipton proclaims that genes do not control biology and that cellular perceptions of the environment are the primary factor in biological processes. Proteins are the stuff of life, the physical gears that orchestrate the movements of biology. There are estimated to be about 100,000 different kinds of proteins in the human body. Today, medical students and practitioners are still operating under the assumption that genes, the blueprints that proteins are made from, are the primary factor in biological processes. When James Watson and Francis Crick first visualized the molecular structure of DNA in 1953, the scientific community believed they had found the ultimate secret to life. The widely accepted understanding is that genetic information stored within the DNA is enough to explain all of molecular biology and heredity, and is the reason why living organisms look and behave how they do, in sickness and in health. The old scientific paradigm espoused that inert genes were the brain of the cell, directing and controlling which proteins become expressed in every cell, and that we are essentially all just victims of heredity. After doing experiments with enucleation, a process where the genes are removed from the cell, Dr. Lipton and other experimenters found that cells lived normal lives for up to 2 months or even longer before their proteins wore out and they died, an observation that contradicts the primacy of genes in cell biology. The genetic information stored in DNA is the blueprint from which all of the body's proteins can be made. Modern science has mistaken the blueprint, the DNA, for the contractor who actually builds the house. So, if the genes are not the brain of the cell, what is? Introducing the cell membrane. At just 7 nanometers wide, this phospholipid bilayer is covered in hundreds of thousands of different receptor proteins. These receptor proteins are each specialized to interpret interpret different signals from the environment and then relay that information back into the cell. When a chemical messenger, like a hormone or a neurotransmitter, binds to a receptor protein, like a key going into a lock, the receptor protein activates corresponding effector proteins inside of the cell, initiating a cascade of chemical reactions within the cell. These are called IMPs, or integral membrane proteins. This receptor-effector protein relationship in the cell membrane is how a cell perceives and reacts to its environment. A molecule in the environment binds to a receptor protein, an effector protein gets activated, and the chemical release inside the cell makes its way back to our cell's nucleus, where the DNA is opened up, so a new protein can be made in the process of transcription. All the functions of DNA depend on interactions with proteins. For example, within the chromosomes, proteins such as histones compact and organize DNA. These compact structures guide the interactions between DNA and other proteins, helping control which parts of the DNA are transcribed. For a gene to be expressed, a sigma factor protein needs to bind to RNA polymerase for it to split the DNA and be able to access the blueprint. Different sigma factors are utilized under different environmental conditions. These specialized sigma factors bind the promoters of genes appropriate to the environmental conditions, increasing the transcription of those genes. The genes chosen to be activated and synthesized into new proteins are the direct result of signals from the environment interacting with receptor proteins in the cell membrane. This is the molecular basis for the environment being the primary factor in biological processes. Understanding this complex interaction between environmental conditions and gene expression leads to a marvelous new understanding of biological development, where evolution is no longer a mindless game of chance based on random hereditary variants, but an interactive dance between organism and environment. Find out more at quantumuniversity.com and enroll in Dr. Lipton's Biology Leave course today.
You can stop that.
All right. That was twice.
Okay, so based on the science of epigenetics, it's proteins that takes the information to the cell and it tells the cell what to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
The proteins, where do you get proteins from?
You get proteins from acids, protein. They say meat, but you get it from plants too.
Food
what do you mean, like
sources,
the
right?
sun? The sun? I mean, what you mean, like the origin?
Yeah, so look, you get different types of protein from secretions of the glands based on diet, sunlight, water consumption, varying different factors.
Okay.
External factors determine what message the cell get, and the cell responds accordingly. Right? So all of the information that's activating all of the glands have to first start at the reticular formation. And then it's spread out through the brain like a giant electromagnetic network. Right? So if you go to images and you pull up the electromagnetic body, it'll show you what the human electromagnetic body look like.
Yeah. Or egg.
Yeah. You see the torsion field?
Yeah. I'm gonna save it for you. Say that one too.
Okay. We can go to them since that's what we're talking about right now.
All right, I'm gonna save it for you right now. And maybe we're gonna save that one and this one. I'm gonna pull it up for you. It's just like the Earth magnetic field too.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll pull this one up first.
Okay, if you look at this one, at the center of the torsion field, load up some more.
Oh, there you go. It was froze. All right, there you go.
You see the heart is at the center of the torsion field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the hologram, for this to be accurate, the Earth got to be a torsion field too.
Right here.
Yeah. This is the electromagnetic grid, right? This is the inside of the torsion field. Go to the images and type in Earth torsion field.
Okay, I got you.
By the way, did you know if you flip the magnet and the compass, it'll orient to the south instead of the north?
Oh, yeah?
Think about that.
Yeah. Not target. Yeah.
What you got typed in there?
Over target field. Maybe, hey, spell target. Let me see if I'm spelling that right.
Spell Toroidal, T-O-R-D-I-A-L.
Oh, T-O-R. I had an A instead of I had an A instead of an R. That's what it was. Man, A instead of an O. Here we go right here. Let's save that one. Let's save that one.
You go to them.
Let's save, let me save one more. We'll save this one since it's got all the different ones.
Black Girl Magic say, why they mad?
Why they mad?
Mm-hmm.
They mad because we on their ass. That's why they mad. How's these niggas doing it?
Okay, so look, this is the electromagnetic Earth fending off solar attacks. You see the red lights coming, red arrows coming in?
Right here.
The solar rays. And in response to Earth magnetic field formed what looked like the spider.
Yeah.
Right. But we want to go to the toroidal field. This one.
Yeah.
This is the toroidal field of the Earth. Do it side by side with the human.
Okay, I got you. Come on. There you go. Hold up. I got you. And then let me blow it up no bigger though.
That's good enough.
Okay.
You can see it. You can see the toroidal field of the Earth.
Yeah.
As above, so below. As within, so without. Right.
Yeah.
So you got a heart. See that heart? That heart frequency coming out.
Yeah.
Right. That has to link to the Earth.
Yeah. Right here.
Yeah. That's why we need the women, because they link that to the Earth for us. Right. Okay, now watch this. Go to the toroidal field of the sun.
Gotcha.
Just take off Earth and put sun.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get it. Let's say that one just in case. But I think it's gonna be the best one. It's gonna be Friday. This one. Let me say that was just case. It's the sun one. Yeah, we're looking for one for the sun.
They ain't showing
it right here. I think this is one, but it just ain't.
What do it say?
It says magnetic field of solar outflow. Okay, yeah, okay, hold on. This might be it right here, but it don't got no good one that match. But this is a good one too, though. Hold up. Okay, this might.
I think that's it. 2 over
right
on the bottom row.
Right here.
Next one over.
Right here. Here.
Nope, the other way.
Right here.
Pass it.
Okay. Hold up. To the left, to the right.
To the right, one picture.
Right
Yep.
here. Let's say Mars.
That's Mars.
Yeah.
All right.
That's Jupiter.
You see they all got toroidal fields,
Yeah,
right?
everything got a toroidal field. So the sun's definitely got one that's giving out too, right? Okay, it might be. Is that it? Let me type it in like this. This might be it right here. The
There
negative,
goes
positive
third
charge.
from the right on the top.
I got you right here. I got you. Third from the right on the top. Right here.
Nah, it ain't there no more.
Right there.
No. Go over to the left, right? Let me see that one. Is that the sun?
Yep.
That's it. You see it?
Yeah, I got it. Let me say this one too.
Uh-oh, that's Ritz. 3-star system.
They timing it up. See, look. That's a good one right here too. All right, that's a good one right here too. Showing you like the different angles of how it's working. So that magnetic, the earth get its energy to defend itself from the sun, You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
It's the polarity of the frequency of the earth to sync it with the sun that causes it to produce the magnetic field.
Uh-huh. So the sun is protecting it from itself.
Yeah.
From itself.
Now, the sun is a toroidal field, the earth is a toroidal field, the human is a toroidal field, and every cell has a toroidal field.
Uh-huh.
Now, where we go to next, once we understand epigenetics and the fact that we in the field, and the field is a toroidal field, and every field produces a structure, a set order, right? So let's look at Tom Campbell. I'm about to send you
video,
and he give you a brief theory of everything, right? Okay. And this gonna help us understand the hologram a little bit better.
Okay.
Okay, I just sent it.
I got you.
Put all these links in the description for the people that are watching.
Okay, everything is okay in the simulator. Okay, I got you.
So you see right there where the sun, it looked like the fire of the sun was shooting at the earth.
Yeah.
That's when the EMFs, the frequencies, bring the upgrades. In order for the upgrades to work, the DNA has to be receptive to the energy. In order to determine if the DNA is receptive to the energy, the earth shoots off solar flares, SOS signals, to the beings on the earth. The beings on the earth DNA then begin to awaken. When the beings, the DNA on the earth awaken, then they begin to see the holographic nature of the construct. And the holographic nature of the construct is rooted in a unified field theory, the theory of everything, right? Which takes us to Tom Campbell and his Big Toe. That's the name of the book, My Big Toe by Tom Campbell. That's the theory of everything.
As we live our life consumed with fear, it can be helpful to take a step back and look at the big picture of what's really going on here. In this quantum simulated reality that we inhabit, we've lived countless lives and will live countless more. And with this understanding, we can see the big picture and live according to it instead of being engulfed with all the negativity, which is seemingly everywhere?
Yes, holding things lightly is a very important part of it. If you see life as an experiment, you're in this life and you have choices, and you don't know the answers to all the choices. We don't come with an instruction book about life and this is your best choice here and there's your best choice. And we keep looking for that instruction book. We read and listen to people and go to events, and we keep hoping to find that instruction book, but it doesn't exist. But if you hold things lightly, as you put it, that means that you really see life as an experiment. This could go that way, well, not necessarily. It could go some other way. This could be a good choice. It might be a bad choice, but I think it's the best choice. So we're going to do it and see how that works, and stay aware of what the results are. Just go through life with that kind of an attitude, is that you do the best you can with the information you've got. Pay attention to the effectiveness and what happens, what's the result of that, and then make your next choice better informed because of the last choice. And if you go through life that way, then there's very little pressure. There's very little anxiety because you let things happen, as you say, and you approach everything with a positive attitude. There's nothing negative there. There's never any failure if you do that. It's impossible to fail. The worst thing you can do is the best thing that happens, which is you learn a lesson. That makes life then a positive exploration through the possibilities. And if you can see it that way, then you'll be happy and you'll hardly have any stress or any anxiety about it because, okay, I do this and I think this is my best choice. I may die, but if I do, the rest of the people will have to deal with that, right? If it happens, then, my kids will deal with it. My husband will deal with it, it'll just happen. And life will go on for others and not for me. And I'll go get another life, try it again. It's not really a big deal. People have to deal with what they have to deal with. So you make your choices, say, well, I think instead of just staying home and seeing what happens, I'm going to go see a doc and see if there's maybe something they can do about it. Well, it's a choice. So then you go do that. And, then you make your next choice and your next choice. But being fearful about the unknown, being fearful about not making the right choice, making mistakes, being fearful about, that you would die and leave other people. And how would they get along without you? Well, they'd have to get along without you, and they would. And their life would go on, and other things would happen, and eventually it's memory, and it's fine. So there really isn't anything that has to end up badly, and there's a lot of joy in that. There's really nothing in life that has to end up badly. Everything's okay as long as you are honest and skeptical and trying to do the right thing. Then, by definition, everything in your life is all right. Well, no anxiety. There that goes. No worries. None of that crunching away on stuff like Sarah, talking about, those are worries, things that upset you, things you're not at peace with, things you haven't let go of, and you grind on those things. They all go away if you can accept life that way. So I think you're right. That's a very short way of expressing kind of the right way to approach all of life. Things will take care of themselves. People will have to deal with what they have to deal with. Okay, everybody that, in your family now are all adults. You don't have any little children.
Okay, you can stop it there. So what he's talking about is in the simulation, the right attitude changes the outcome of how you experience the simulation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you look at the doom and gloom, then you're going to be beat to death by the simulation. It's going to send more and more bullshit your way because you're stuck in that gloom and doom energy, which is magnetic to bullshit. Right? But if you change your outlook on life, right, and you don't look at it from a mortal victim perspective, they teach us to look at everything as a victim. As long as you're looking from it as a victim, you can't never get to the top because victims is feed for predators. Right? So when you understand that the tie to the game and how it's played it takes away your anxiety for playing the game of life.
Mm-hmm.
You've been here before, you're gonna be here again, but you somewhere else.
Right.
Right? I think I got another one to send you.
All right.
What did I do with that video? Oh, I know where I sent it. Hold on 1 second, Alden.
All right. Take your time. Hey, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're in the building. Hit that bell if you're new to the channel. Like I say, if you don't receive a notification from us every day, come back and check with us. We putting some out every day. Like I say, we dropped the brother Rod Hayes Cash App in the links, man. If you want to show him some love, no problem, brother.
Click on that.
I got you.
This is going to break the game down as to how we perceive it. Watch these little kids talking with telepathy, and they're going to be explaining the game and how it's played and how.
It's on Instagram?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna have to
You can look it up through Google.
Huh?
If you put the link in Google, you can pull it up.
I'm trying to see how I'm gonna get it sent to my laptop. I might have to email it to myself real quick.
Oh, you got this. You're a master, self-raised master like
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna get it right now. Okay, copy it. Boom.
So in this game, while we looking at, let's go over some more of the rules while you pulling that up. In this game, you find the smartest people that tell the story about how to see it. So you can bend your mind to that genius's perception.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've seen it, you can't unsee it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's one of the rules. So all of the materials Baba was putting out, once I seen it, I can't unsee it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I seen all of what Elijah Muhammad put out, Nation of Islam, the 5 percenters, and the Moore Science Temple, I can't forget what they put out, because all of it becomes pieces to the puzzle that puts together the hologram that tells us the simulation's rules, and that we really somewhere else working here to experience different realities on this earth plane.
Make sure it don't freeze on me. Oh, yeah.
So when you study all of the greats, you have nothing but the propensity to be great, because all you know how to do is think greatness. When you study in a history of pity and mercy or merciless abuse, and you become victimized by that post-traumatic slave disorder, right? Then you become the victim that can't do for themselves. And as soon as you learn to do for self, you overthrow the enemy that got their foot on your neck.
Okay, we gotta go to it'll be your videos. It'll be like this. A lot of videos. Hey, hit that like button, man. We in the building putting it down.
What you see in the comments, young elder?
Yeah, we about almost 2 hours in. We got about like maybe like 10 minutes.
Introducing the new skill PowerCore 20.
And we'll be 2 hours in. And people ask questions. Hold on, let's see if we can get the chat back up. Everybody saying, man, they got boom, bomb, we dropping bombs, fire signs, jewels, we dropping jewels, man. They saying we put holding it down. Let's see if we can get this loaded up here.
This is the description of the game from outside of Earth and how we're going to view it in other times to come.
Oh yeah, you know we can get that shit pulled up. I told you. All
Go
right.
to Earth? I did. I had to. I had that.
Can I blow it? Would it blow up bigger than that?
Right click and look for the
here
mic.
Full menu action. Let's see if it let me pull up full screen. That ain't gonna let me do it. We're going to watch it like
You
this.
volunteered to go to Earth? I did. I had to. I had family trapped on Earth. So tell me, out of everything you've ever done, what's the craziest experience you've ever had? That's easy. Earth. Earth? You went to Earth? I did. No way. You were a human? I was. Wow. Are the stories about Earth true? Were they really trapped on Earth? Some were. I know because I was one of the volunteers. Wait a second. You volunteered to go to Earth? I did. I had to. I had family trapped on Earth. But how could you get trapped on Earth? You had to be there to understand.
And it's right here, the video, right?
Remember anything.
Yeah, listen to her.
I mean, you wouldn't remember anything. I mean, you would have no memory of anything. You wouldn't even remember existing before Earth. What? How is that possible? It was designed that way. It was brilliant. To dive as deeply as possible into such ignorance, such darkness, and still find your way back to remembering who you were. That took true mastery. Wow. I still can't believe you went to Earth. Tell me more. Well, Earth had its own set of laws that everyone agreed to experience, like gravity. What goes up must come down, like linear time. Day is followed by night. Time? What's time? You know how when we think of something, it manifests instantly? Well, on Earth, there was a delay. The delay is what made Earth so difficult. Interesting. Time. So tell me more. Before going to Earth, you would choose your family, whether you wanted to be male or female, what race you wanted to be, the location on the planet, things like that. Oh, so you could choose your own character. Exactly. You would enter the Earth as a baby and be completely dependent on others to teach you the rules. But since nobody could remember the rules, they made up their own rules, based on fear and giving your power away to others. That doesn't sound like much fun. It wasn't for everyone. What did you do while portions of you were on Earth? I watched them. It was pretty funny. What was so funny? Here were these magnificent beings, playing the most unique and cutting-edge experience in the universe, and they were clueless. I tried to guide them as much as possible. Wait a second, you could communicate with them? Yes, but they couldn't hear me. I would show them synchronicities, or send them impulses to help guide them, but they couldn't see the signs. Why not? They didn't trust themselves. So is that why they sent out a call for help? Exactly. Is that when you went? No, I didn't go until later. The first volunteers, they had it the worst. What do you mean, had it the worst? Well, they killed them. What? They killed the volunteers. They killed them? Those on Earth couldn't understand what the volunteers were telling them. The idea that they were equal to the volunteers scared them. What were they telling them? Common sense stuff like, all the answers you seek are inside you. Everything I can do, you can do and more. So they killed them? And then they twisted the volunteers' message and created even more fear. What do you mean more fear? Like the message, God is inside you, was turned into, you are separate from God. The message, all the answers you seek are inside you, was twisted into, you can't trust yourself. And they believed it? It was out of control. How could they believe that? You had to be there to understand. Did you know they actually believed that they were the only intelligent life in the universe? Now that's funny. Pretty crazy, I know. So then what happened? The designers knew Earth was going to enter a section of the galaxy that humans had never experienced before.
Listen.
A section filled with a frequency that might be able to reconnect the human's DNA. What was wrong with their DNA? It didn't work anymore. The thing is, their DNA was how they connected with their higher self. So that's why your incarnations couldn't hear you. Exactly. But there was a catch with the new plan. Only those incarnated on Earth could tune in to these new frequencies. Oh, so they needed more volunteers. Yes, but this time they were taking no chances. To pull this off, they needed millions in the physical form, wired and ready to attune to these frequencies. Are these the 21st century humans that all the stories are about? Yep. We volunteered from every corner of the universe to help the humans wake up. What did the volunteers have to do once they got there? We had to wake ourselves up, attune to these frequencies, and spread them to the rest of the planet. That sounds impossible. Most of those watching the Earth experiment didn't think we could pull it off. So, what happened when you got to Earth? Once on Earth, we were taught the same fear-based beliefs that had been handed down for eons. We lived just like everyone else, totally clueless to who we were and what was getting ready to happen. But as soon as the Earth entered this cloud of frequencies, we started to question everything. And one by one, we started to wake up. So the plan was working. It was. The more we trusted ourselves, the quicker we reconnected. And the faster we started to remember what was happening. And since we were spread out evenly all around the planet's frequency began to rise quickly. What happened when the planet's frequency began to rise? The humans' experience of time began speeding up. They started manifesting their beliefs faster and faster. Those consumed with fear created even more fear, and eventually Earth just spun out of control. What do you mean, spun out of control? These low-frequency beliefs that had controlled the human experience for eons could no longer exist, so they began to self-destruct, and the world fell into complete chaos. That sounds terrifying. It was for those living in fear, but for us volunteers, we all knew it was the end of the old energy and the beginning of the new. So then what happened? A tipping point was reached in our awakening, and we created a new Earth. A new Earth? What happened to the old Earth? It continued on, allowing those who could not let go of their fears to play out their lessons. But for us, we created a new Earth that matched our higher frequency. And as easy as that, all the fear-based beliefs simply fell away. In an instant, we remembered who we were. We knew we were all connected, and we stopped hurting each other. We started respecting each other, started loving each other. We took back our power to create, and we created a new Earth without fear. Wow, so the legends are true. What an incredible experience that must have been. Nice work. Thanks.
All right, now I want you to go to YouTube.
You volunteered to go to Earth?
Go to YouTube, young elder.
Yeah.
Pull up autobiography of Inky.
All right. Come on, baby. Come on.
You volunteered.
Autobiography of Inky. You know,
see that book of Inky? The second.
Right here?
Yeah, I think at the beginning of it is the part I'm looking for.
Wait, try. What the hell?
The second one.
Yeah, it won't let me. Oh, look. Oh, what the hell's going on here? No, I ain't offline, my nigga. Hold on, I'm trying to see what the hell it's doing. What the hell? Hold on, let me do this. Do it like this. Get out of there. Close it. Close it. Reload it. We already made that 2-hour mark too.
All right, we're gonna go over this part and then we're gonna start. We're gonna see if we got questions. So if y'all got questions,
shit.
y'all can get them.
Yeah, this doing act crazy now. What the hell?
We blew the spot up.
Oh yeah, my internet's still on. What? Look at this. I don't know what the hell is going on. Look, it's still on. So now it's saying, usually when I do that, I have to restore it though.
Okay, don't worry about it. Let's just go on to the video to the
If y'all got any questions for the brother Rod on the topic, drop them in the chat, man. We're gonna take about 10 to 15 minutes worth of questions, man. I think it's right here with some heavy duty shit, man. You just gave me a whole bunch of shit. I could write a book on just what you put on, what you gave me today. I could go do more research and put a book together called The Holographic Reality.
I got some more to it. We ain't get to.
But do part 3. We'll do a part 3.
Okay.
Back free again. We'll see what they got. Hey, if you got any questions, drop them in the chat for the Rod. Yeah.
So as you can see, the game of life is the game of the gods. The game of the gods is played in the holographic universe.
Yeah.
The holographic universe produces the earth realm. Yeah. The earth realm is where we experience light. The rules say we have to be synced to the earth and come in with amnesia and remember who we are. The little girl told you it was thousands of us around the world scattered out in order to raise the vibration and the frequency of the planet. So now remember, I was showing you on the solar storm how the UV rays interact with the Earth's electromagnetic field. This generates what's known as the Schumann resonance.
Yeah.
But now it's going to be restored to the Schumann resonance, which is the right resonance. So if you go to Google and you look up Schumann, it's going to show you the canopy of the sky over the Earth. Right? That's the right frequency, the A tone. So as we all make an atonement for the dirt we did, then it automatically re-attunes the earth back to the A tone, which is the atonement of the earthborn in the redemption process to recover earth from those who can't stay here because they violated the cosmic law and created something known as the great debauchery. And in the process of cleaning up the great debauchery, we collected galactic points of suffering the motherfucking bottom of the barrel shit to build up something called pre-karma. Pre-karma is the points that we created by our suffering, being the firstborn of the earthborn, in order to see those who had less come into their own and be able to achieve more. So we passed the God gene to the God creation because God created something they ain't had no business doing because they didn't have the prime creator permission, nor did they have the permission of the queen of heaven and earth. So now they come into our community to get their drop of blood, but they got to get it by any means necessary, even at the tip of the sword. So the Shriners come in 32 degrees Scottish Rite on the challenge Fezes versus Feathers under George Washington Masonic order to put us in the warlock. So now that we can't in the warlock, we can't access our coffers, we hold our wealth. But in order to break free from the warlock, one of us got to break free from the slumber, come up from under the sleep, build themselves as the perfected man, master of masters, the self-raised master. Hiram Abiff is raised, the motherfucking Masonic Lodge, all motherfucking lodges bump straight. And then 45 come in because he come in off of ACP. Now that's a military firearm, right? Which is in modern times a Desert Eagle, but the Desert Eagle is a 50 cal. And a 50 cal will blow a hole in your ass big enough to walk through. If you think of bullshit, watch what the 45 do. Because the 45 will leave a hole in your ass and leave you leaking for days. So when the 45 land, that's the Desert Eagle on the return in the Air Force One off of a Raven Rock knock to a knockback, zigzag zig, all the zigzag zig, all the chiefs across the land is rocking this bitch from motherfucking hand to hand. We done with the bullshit. Now it's time to unload a full clip on a Gangstar flip. off of a guru, and the guru is a teacher, and the teacher is the master teacher on the Malachi York knot to a knockback off a speaker, and the speaker is Minister Farrakhan, who has Aaron in his name, but y'all didn't never catch that because y'all don't know the code, because the minister named him Farrakhan Muhammad, not Louis Farrakhan, but y'all can't get it right because he was the charmer. So he was so busy charming y'all, he ain't stopped y'all from calling him Louis, because Louis the 14th was instrumental in the European rebellion, but y'all don't know nothing about that. Y'all too busy trying to drink Louis the 15th wine, right? So now that we in the club and we hanging late night, motherfuckers doing these line dances, now we capture the conjure. We capture the conjure to send the energy back to Mother Earth that the old ones has returned. As Empress Verdiasi say, the ancient ones, the return of the ancient ones. And how you gonna know when the guys are standing before you? Because they're gonna experience a different lifestyle that's gonna allow them to show you how to shine in the public. By using exceptional brilliance and overwhelming intellect, they'll be able to connect the dots across the celebrity circles to the politician, bring out the dirty players and expose them motherfuckers for who they is, tell you what's going on behind the scenes without being behind the scenes, sitting here watching it play out, understanding the land and how to read the culture. Once you understand how to read the culture, then you know who the culture vultures really is. But the vulture is the condor, and the condor is fearless. He don't give a fuck. But he fucked around and stayed too long, and the eagles then came home. Now they wondering why the chickens is coming home to roost, because it's time to collect the bounty. Because when Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall, none of the king's horses and none of the king's men could put poor Humpty back together again. That's pure wasted potential. But if you can figure out how to unscramble the scrambled eggs, all you need is a possibility, and I'm gonna take the chance. Because if I can take the chance and we can all dance Mardi Gras across the land from motherfucking Maine to goddamn Arizona, from Alaska to Florida, zigzag zig, X marks the spot. We home now, motherfucker. We back for every fucking thing they owe. No longer oppressed. That's why we overthrow those that placed us in this rotten mess with their motherfucking dirty ass games that they was playing. We talking dirty Moors. We ain't talking righteous Moors. Because in the Feather versus the Feds is the Bays win this bitch. Right? Because it was Bays versus the L's, because the L's said they was lawgivers, and King George III instituted the Bar Association in 1863 in Savannah, Georgia. So we know who was behind the barristers the whole time, the black nobility, AKA the goddamn white man that ain't even white, that look like us, but they ain't us. That's why they call us lichens, because we look like kin, but we ain't. We just wear the wolves. That's why they call us werewolves. But them some blood-sucking, adrenal cream drinking motherfuckers. But since we know who's who and what's what, it's time to shut this motherfucker up. So let's go to the audience and see if we got some questions, Elder.
Yeah, we got a question that said, well, let me see, damn, we got too many comments out there. He said, how can artificial supplements help the natural body?
So look, the artificial supplements is not necessarily from an artificial source. It's just that the source was refined in order to extract the part that you can supplement with, because the food is being grown using artificial means. So they have to extract supplements from other locations, sometimes toxic sources that you couldn't take in this free form, but they can get the vitamin or the mineral out, and you can take it without having the negative side effect of consuming the toxin. So the artificial supplement, keep in mind, it's not really artificial.
To me, there's really, when you look at how you're breaking everything down, there's really no such thing as artificial.
Well, it becomes artificial when you assemble it from scratch. So if I was to go in the lab and take the atomic molecules used to make water and I alter the isotopes, I made artificial water that has a different weight density because of the alteration in the isotope.
I see what you're saying. I was like, official means you legit. You know what I'm saying? It's straight. You know.
Well, the first word of artificial is art.
Yeah, that's right.
Art comes from the creative mind. The creative mind is the mind of God expressed through the hands of man.
Mm-hmm. So if you are official, that means, nigga, you official with this art. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, because you can reproduce and replicate.
Yeah.
Your words can manifest, your deeds can manifest. So if you can tell a compelling story to inspire deeper thought in somebody else, then you become a master of thought forms. You control thought. You become an instrumental part of the community because your energy changes the way people perceive reality. That's like you explain the rules of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when the problem is too big for one, they got to call somebody who can figure the problem out next.
Mm-hmm.
If he can't solve it, he got to call next. And then you get to what's called the final solution. The final solution is the final resolution. And the final resolution is the final resolve. And the final resolve is the resolve to get this shit done. Right? And so when we look at how everybody contributed to the art of life, remember, it's in the book, you the salt of the earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
In order to be the salt of the earth, you have to have the creative potential expressed. If you look on your screen right now, you got Mick Jagger, you got, I don't know if that's Jermaine Dupri.
Yeah.
And you got that talk show host, Tupac, and then you got old Blue Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
All of them had what's called the spark, the song. We didn't start the spot fire, but this thing's been burning since the world been turning, right? So we didn't start the fire. The fire is the Promethean flame.
Mm-hmm.
The Promethean flame is the unadulterated intelligence of the gods. Now remember, Prometheus climbed up to Mount Olympus and stole a little bit of the flames.
Mm-hmm.
That means he got a female that was born of the gods to marry and reproduce to give that flame to his seed, his progeny.
Mm-hmm.
Once he gave that flame to his progeny, now he's passed on the wisdom of the gods to his offspring. And wisdom is always justified of her children, right? Why do they call her Sophia? Ain Soph, right? From Malkuth to Kephra.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to Kephra, you encounter Ain Soph, Sophia, right? And Sophia is feminine for wisdom, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if Sophia is wisdom and wisdom is justified of her children, they're talking about the queen's chamber in the brain. And in the queen's chamber in the brain is where the pineal gland sits. And on the other side is the king's chamber where the pituitary gland sits.
Mm-hmm.
And the two glands hold entirely two different functions. The pituitary gland develops your maturity. As a man, it turns you masculine. As a woman, it turns you feminine. And from the queen's chamber, we are downloading through the interior gyrus in the brain the instructions from Big Mama in the queen's chamber. And if there's no occupier of the queen's chamber, your mama can't die. She got to stay here till you find somebody that match her energy or love for you, unconditional.
And she you're born again.
Right. And so the story of Earth, right? The story of Earth is a love story in the end. The love story is bringing the love back where the misery dwells.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to unravel the love story in real life, you have to unravel all of the mysteries of time, but we call them legends and tales. Right? When you unravel that, then you find yourself in the midst of the mystery system and you become the unsolved mystery. So if you can see if you can find the mystery, the answer revolves around your history. So quietly, I dropped this degree scientifically and realistically, said Raquel. The 18th letter, the R. You catch that?
Mm-hmm.
And 18 is 3 6s, by the way.
And 81 on the mirror flip.
Yeah, and
9.
81 is 9.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when you put all this shit together, you see that some people just needed a drop of blood in order to be creative as us. Mission accomplished.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The galactic family then came back to see that we accomplished the task they left us to do. We fought amongst each other, but I promise you this, we ain't even got to burn this bitch down, even if we piss. Because at the end of the day, after the anger and the rage, comes the understanding of the price that we paid.
Deep.
Right? Once you understand that the price you paid was for a better day, then you have paved the way for your children to see the motherfucking shit you suffer for.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you don't do that, you ain't breaking no generational curses.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Breaking the generational curses is giving up all of the things that don't serve the greater good. And if each one teach one, we all gonna reach some. Right? And the more we reach, the better we can teach. And the better we can teach, the more we can reach. It's a reciprocal manifestation of real time, understanding the holographic nature of the board game of life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we understand that we take on new avatars when we wear this one out. But now we have the technological ability to expand the life of the avatar that we already had, but it was denied access by nefarious forces so that we can forever be under the perpetual ignorance of who we were.
Mm-hmm.
But the spell is broken and the gods is awakened. So when we put together the holographic universe in front of your face and show you piece by piece how it's assembled, who else has done that?
Right.
Get them motherfuckers, young elder. Bust them niggas here.
Hey, we got them niggas tonight, man. Hey, we about to get up out of here though, because I'm about to wind down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can take let's take ahead. 2 more questions.
I got you. Somebody said once dude was asking about the clock of destiny. How can
Charles Mosby Bay?
Yeah, it's like he said, how can you track? So can the clock of destiny help tracking reincarnation energy cycle?
When you understand what he's teaching in the clock of destiny, you'll know how to read the astrological time frames. Right? He's teaching you the fundamentals of astrology as it's applied from our ancient ancestors, and it's slightly different than what we call the modern astrology. So he's giving you ancient Kemetic science, but he's telling it in a modern format. The same with C. Freeman Neal. He's telling you metaphysics and applied metaphysics and how to use it in order to accelerate your ascension. But most of the people can't understand what C. Freeman Neal is talking about because the science is beyond what they used to experiencing, so they can't sit through the lectures to get what they need to get. He's talking too much over their head. And he's breaking it down simple, but you have to be a diligent student in order to pay attention. And that's why I'm a master student, not the master teacher.
Mm-hmm. I feel the same.
So I tell you what all my teachers showed me, and then I could put it all together so y'all can see what I see. And once y'all see what I see, y'all can't unsee this shit.
Right. We got one more for you, Brother Rod, before we get up out of here from the Sister Tiffany. Robot, Chief Rod, can you please elaborate a little bit more on the Shu Tefnut resonance?
So we was under a flip grid that gave us a double positive masculine polarity on the earth. They call it a Shu Men resonance. If you look up the god Shu and you look up the god Men, they are 2 male deities. This is a violation of Earth's gender contract to allow men to rule, to be under a double male domination. Like right here, you see you got a north and a south magnetic pole. Right? We only use the north magnetic pole because we in the northern hemisphere. But just like you have calibrated north magnetic pole magnets, you also have calibrated south pole magnets too. So that when you're in the southern hemisphere, you can traverse the land using the southern point of reference, which is up. Right? So when you're looking at those lines coming out, that's the developing of the electromagnetic field. Now, if you look up Shu Tefnet, go to Google Images, put in Shu Tefnet.
Bam.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
that. I gotta restart computer.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
All right.
So Shu Tefnet is Mother Earth and the moisture of the sky, and it's the meeting of the two under the 432 hertz is the Earth frequency. The Schumann resonance is calibrated on a different frequency to give us a pitch, the wrong pitch, right? And if you get the wrong pitch, you'll never hit a home run.
That's right.
Now, when the Schumann resonance flip back correctly, it becomes the Shu Tefnut resonance, which is the proper frequency of the Earth. When that's what they call the pole flip. Before, the whole crust would flip around on the Earth. Right now, only the energy, because it's just Nibiru is going to pass just far enough not to flip the crust.
Okay.
But it's still going to pull on the electromagnetic field and cause the magnets to flip. And those frequencies that you see will be reoriented to the position they are now. South is up, north is down. Right? So all of the ones of us that had a north calibrated compass, it ain't gonna work right. It's gonna draw you to the south. So your north gonna be reading south on your compass because of the electromagnetic grid flip. And so when I'm talking about the Shu Tefnut resonance, I'm talking about the ancient geographical physics of the Kemetic science, ancient Egypt, as they call it today.
Oh yeah, you put it down tonight, Rod. We about to get up out of here, man.
Yes, sir.
We want to thank y'all for tuning in. Hey, we thank you for coming on, brother Rod. Let everyone know when you're ready to do the next one, man. We back. Man, we want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Like every time the brother Rod come on, it's always a new level of information that I could take, that we all could take, and we can run with it, man. Take that and run with it, man. So, man, look, Islam, Hotel, Shalom. You know what I'm saying? Peace, love, harmony. I should divine love throughout the violence universe to all. We out this thing, man. All right, Rod. Hit me up, Rod.
All right, what do?